The final show.
Oh man, I'm starving. Jesus Christ. We'll see what the wife says when she gets home. She's gotta be getting hungry too.
Here we go.
Ugh. Wait, just give me the big bird, dude. And going at 4 times speed is not even fast enough for me. Yikes. Why? Why? I get that he's supposed to spawn less frequently, but god damn. This is great. Oh, jeez. Oh my god, I can't believe the luck that I'm getting right now. They're... no way for us to check the monsters out in the field, which sucks. Come on, I want to go do something more interesting. Holy crap. Holy crap, man. There we go. Well, at least it's one more. I'm gonna try and stay in this general area in case it's an area-specific monster. Seems to be helping. Here we go. Oh, thank God. Alright, we got what we needed from Mushroom Rock.
The final show. Yeehaw! Here we go!
I saw the leaked concept art and then like some very unverified like leaks here and there on it, but I haven't heard anything else. Belly. Been very, and I honestly believe that that's Ubisoft doing safe business is what they're doing there. These companies are starting to strategically leak things in very early stages to try and use free social media information to let them know whether or not it's worth fully investing in a project or not. So they'll kind of like leak stuff and be like, oh no, we don't know anything about that. They're upset that I had a choice between male or female character. You have a choice between a male and female in the newest one. And that's not a fucking problem. What's the problem for this journalist? Yeah? Do you have a reason for it? He's just spouting stupidity. The problem was that more players chose the male. Yeah, well, because there's probably more male players. You're mad when there's not an option, and then when the option's presented, you're mad that more people didn't take the option. Don't be fucking stupid. The way people who overreact to stuff drive me up a fucking wall, dude, because you're fighting for like equality, right? And when you act like a fucking idiot and you overreact, the people that you're really trying to make this difference with, like, you don't have to make a difference with me for equality in gender, race, creed, or whatever, right? You don't have to make that fight with me anymore, right? But the people that you need to make that fight with, like the ignorant person who had some bad experiences in life and now they're extremely prejudiced because of it, that person's the person you need to change their mind. And when you act like an idiot with your stance, with your soapbox, you make that person solidify their opinion on it. Because now they go, well, all women are idiots. And then you get a journalist who's acting like a fucking idiot and talking about women's rights. And they go, nope, see, what you're doing is you're proving their point. By acting like an idiot, you're proving an idiot's fucking point. Just like that. I hate that. Stop overreacting to shit. Handle things like an adult, and we'll start making some fucking differences. But you're never gonna get through to an ignorant, stubborn mind by acting like a bigger idiot. It just drives me nuts. You're not helping anybody. You're just the other side of the moron coin. Congratulations. Only female character. Player base must get out of their comfort zone. Well, we're way out of it.
Yeehaw! Here we go!
I'll tell you right now that fucking Tomb Raider outsold the last couple Assassin's Creeds. So, and you can only play as a female in that. Already got all these guys. What am I looking for here? The Josie Road. If we go this way, does this put me on the Josie Road? Yeah, I do. There we go. We're capturing bees. See, that's the thing. I don't think people do give a shit. I think for the most part, like the majority of everyone doesn't give a shit. But here we are again, giving credence and voice to people because of the internet, allowing people to vocalize a very obscure opinion. Oh, the water in that victory scene looked very good. What I am probably most offended by is video games are not a public service. They are not a utility. They are not a government entity. They're not something that has to be consumed by everybody. It's not something that everybody has to make use of. So accessibility and equality and proper equal representation, all those things, it's not required. It's not required. Speaking as a person who's colorblind and went through decades of video games not having any kind of colorblind option, and even the colorblind options we're starting to see pop up are disconnected and confused with how a colorblind person actually wants to see things work in a game, and some games get it absolutely right. I'm not mad at anybody for doing it. Battlefront 2, the original one on PlayStation 2, was a colorblind person's worst nightmare because instead of the teams being red versus blue, they were red versus green, and the colors were very close to each other, and I'd walk into the enemy's base thinking it was my own base and get myself killed. And it happened a ton, and I still played the shit out of that game. I never got mad at them for doing that. Shit, hold on. Never got pissed at them and was like, you don't care about my feelings and blah, blah, blah. Bottom line, video games are they're an art form first. And this idea that I get to tell the artist, the person who's writing or making their story or telling their story or talking about their characters, that I have the right to tell them what gender they are and are not allowed to make their characters and their story that they're telling? No, absolutely not. You are aggressively, violently out of bounds with that shit. Like, I'm all for it and I want to see more of it. But if you're deciding to make a game where you get to create your own character, then you need to present options for everyone. If you're making a game where you're talking about a character, nobody else gets to tell you what that character is. You're writing that story. Well, that's a whole different monster. J.K. Rowling, like, fucking up her entire ethos, her entire lore base with Twitter. Ban that woman from Twitter. what good she had with Harry Potter, she's ruined with Twitter. Dumbledore was actually an alien. What? Stop that. She doesn't know her own fan base. She doesn't know her own lore as well as her fan base does. And a couple things that she did, like, she just started making. She just wanted like approval from all these different minority groups that were getting vocal about how much they love her franchise on Twitter and stuff. And she started pandering and virtue signaling, but she like didn't realize she was like shooting herself in the foot on how her stuff works. Some particularly, she could change whatever. Well, she's ruining her own shit. Like, she needs to stop. But the two that, what started it all was somebody tweeted at her and was like, or somebody maybe asked her at a convention or something, like, hey, you know, like, why don't we ever see Dumbledore in a relationship? And she's like, oh, like, he kind of got away from it, but since you asked the question, he's gay. And so a lot of people were like, oh my god, Dumbledore's gay? Oh my god. And people got upset. And some people were like, hell yeah, that's fucking cool and stuff. Me personally, I feel Dumbledore is like clearly a reference to Gandalf. He's the old wise wizard who's guiding the adventurer through the story, you know? I prefer those characters to be intentionally dehumanized a little bit. You put them on a higher pedestal, they're almost demigod level to me. They're so powerful, they're so wise that they're above mortal needs. You know, like, I don't know, just like a super powerful wizard in my mind, like, maybe enjoys a fine wine, but doesn't, like, you know, isn't a slave to, like, the gluttony of food, or sex, or greed. Like, they're just above all that shit, you know? And for her to be like, he's gay, I'm like, now I'm, not that I have a problem imagining him in a gay romance, but, like, now I'm imagining him in a romance, period. And that weakens Dumbledore for me. Same way I don't like that, like, they kind of put this, like, little love affair between Galadriel and Gandalf in The Hobbit. That's one of the... There's very few things that I have a problem with the movies. I know a lot of people want to hate on the movies. I adore them very aggressively. I love them very much. I love the Hobbit movies. But there's a couple things here and there that they did I didn't like. And one of them was having Gandalf kind of be this, like, pussy who's like, I love you, Galadriel. It's like, no. Like, he respects her. Right? So, and is doing that fine? Yeah, in my personal opinion, I don't think she should have done that with Dumbledore. Just because, like, it changes Dumbledore as a function in the story. But, alright, cool, whatever. Not too much damage done with that. You know, the people who are homophobic got upset, but whatever, screw them. But then, she just started calling more and more and more characters gay, and then somebody made a point of, like, if we were to take the characters that she established in the story, right? Like, you got a bunch of students at the school, but most of them go unnamed. We don't have any interaction with all these background students, right? But the ones that she named, if we assume that everybody's straight, and then take the number of people that she, after the fact, changed to gay, somebody made a point that 40%, and, like, kept that ratio throughout the whole school, 40% of the school, like, population was gay. And, like, it's just not, it's not realistic. I don't think, like, boom, half the school is gay suddenly. Oh god, we're past inclusion. Like, or if you want to spin it a different way, like, only the gay kids at the school were the ones participating in the story. The rest of the, like, all the straight kids have have a high likelihood to not get involved in this bullshit. Like, I don't know, you can spin it however you want, but it was funny, the person doing the math. But where things got really screwed up, and she started catching some heat, was when, I forget the name of the play, but somebody was doing, like, a Broadway-style play, with Harry Potter characters, and they cast a black woman or a black girl, I don't know what her age was, as Hermione. And some people were upset about it, some people loved it, whatever. And she goes on Twitter and she goes, "I love it. I never actually said what ethnicity Hermione was, so this is great, And then, like, a million people quoted tons of pages where she absolutely talks about the ethnicity and the appearance of Hermione Granger, and that she's definitely not black. Now, in theater, all the time, they change characters' genders and race and all that kind of stuff. They do it all the time, so that's not, it's not weird to do that. But just the fact that she doesn't remember that she established certain traits about her characters and the fan base totally did. She's just off the rails, man. It's changing everything. And none of that stuff, like, bothers me. I just want continuity. Because the instant that you don't maintain your continuity in your story, you tear away the curtain and you make it all, you let everybody realize that it was all made up. Like, and we all know that you made it up, clearly, because it's fiction. But, like, the immersion gets taken away aggressively. Because it's like, oh, you could just screw it up and change it that quick and easy. So, like, I don't know. It just makes headcanon a lot harder on me when people go and change shit really fast. That's too funny, though. I know, all the outrage and stuff like that, I don't get it. Let people make their video games the way they want to make their video games. Just leave them alone. If their game is not outrightly being straightforward, bluntly offensive against, like, if the game's not directly attacking people, leave it the hell alone, man. You got to allow for some neutrality in this world. Like, this idea that everybody's actions and inactions all mean an opinion. Like, the fact that Assassin's Creed is letting you pick between a man or a woman instead of forcing it to be just a woman, and then taking that and turning that into a political statement. And they're like, they're doing that because they don't like women. It's like, no, dude, they just made a game. Now, if they made a game where they're like, this is the video game where you play a man that beats women for talking, yeah, okay, now we got a fucking problem, and you're allowed to go off 100%, as angry as you want all day long, and I'll have your back on it. Like, we got to allow for neutrality. We got to allow for people to just exist and not be in trouble for existing. Look at Zig, just sitting there being a man. What a piece of shit. Yeah, the whole damsel in distress thing, guess what? It's a storytelling trope, you know? Now, do I think every single story needs to be a damsel in distress? No, that's messed up. But Zelda has always been damsel in distress. And they're even getting away from it, and they're doing so beautifully. Zelda in Breath of the Wild, the character, Zelda, was a fucking powerhouse, badass bitch, dude. She fucking stood toe-to-toe with Ganon and held his ass for hundreds of years, and then let me go find all those fucking Korok seeds. I just dicked around, man. And she just held her ground the whole time. She's like, I don't give a shit. Like, it'd be nice if you hurried up. My back's starting to hurt by carrying the story. But sure, Link, go do whatever you want. And besides, okay, listen. we let Zelda have her game and she fucked it up royally. So, you know, that's not a stab at women in general. Zelda's bad at the adventuring. She's bad at it, okay? No more adventures for Zelda. You're fired. Exactly. Breath of the Wild has gotten past the damsel in distress. She's being a badass who can stand on her own. Also, half of your badass champions were females, you know? Like, I don't know. And Zelda's been doing the Gerudo don't need no man thing for a long time. So if you want to talk about, like, female strength, I don't know. Zelda's got it in spades. And even before Breath of the Wild, Zelda games have been showing the strength of Zelda. Twilight Princess, you jump on the horse and she's on the back just slaying the shit out of Ganon with those light arrows. Dude, Zelda in Twilight Princess is a goddamn monster. It's fucking awesome in that game. Yeah, like... Also, like, I think it's silly to even have those fights when the company's Japan. When the company is from Japan, they're not part of this American politics thing that we're going through right now. We're going through like a huge equality thing here in America. It's America that's doing that. The rest of the world, yeah, they have equality problems. Like, you can look at any country and there's going to be issues here and there, but this loud outcry that's been going on lately, that's an American thing. And it's an American politics. So to be like, Nintendo, you need to change. Nintendo's sitting over there in Japan thinking, what the fuck? Who's screaming at us? Why are you so mad? Like, they're not part of this whole equation. I don't get it. Return of the King, when Aaron hands the reins to Mary and she brings down an elephant. Yeah, I love female heroines. And I was telling the wife the other day, and it's like the reason why I love female, like, badass heroes is empowering yet a little sexist according to some people's opinions today. But by physical definition, like, as far as, like, genetics, right? Like, a man is gonna have more upper body strength, and that's what, you know, makes for a better fighter and all that stuff, if you want to get real technical and mean about it. Like, the typical warrior is because men are taller and they're broader built and they got more body strength and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean, like, a woman can't be a hero. There's no reason she can't, right? So that's why I think it's such a better hero story when a woman stands up and fucking fights like a badass. That's why I love Eowyn so much, because she's like, I don't give a fuck what you think about women. I am going to stand toe-to-toe. And sure, maybe you can carry a heavier sword and your armor, you know, fits you better and all that shit. She didn't give a shit. She got out there and fucking fought. Just at the Ren Fair. The most hypest moment. We go and we see the joust every time we go to the Ren Fair, right? And, like, it's always random who wins. And where you set around the jousting arena dictates what knight that you root for. They're oh, you get assigned this knight. So this year, they had teams, and we had we had Team Moon versus Team Sun, which Pokemon reference, I know, but we had this one knight whose emblem was like blue and silver, and he had a moon on it, and then the other guy was black and red with a dragon, and then the two on the other side were brothers, and they were the Spaniards, right? And so they had like a green lion, I think. Black and green was their colors and everything. So anyways, like, they're all doing their jousting, and it goes the same way every year at the Ren Fair. Like, they do the joust, they have the competition, somebody gets mad, cheats, or takes a cheap shot, and then it turns into an all-out brawl, and then the knights kill each other until there's only one guy standing, and there's, betrayal, and all this crazy fun shit happens, right? And so, like, we ended up picking the corner of the knights who ended up winning. But what was so sick is, like, the teams start fighting and they're sword fighting and all this stuff, and our knight gets knocked down from a cheap shot by the the Spanish brothers, and he goes to like finish him off, but there's this girl that was walking around, and her character name was Freya, and she was selling like merchandise and flags and stuff like that, and she introduced herself to everybody, and she fucking jumps the fence, and she tackles this huge knight in fucking armor, and then she grabs a sword, and she starts having a fucking sword fight with this dude, and the choreography's fucking fantastic, and she's going to town with it, and I'm losing my mind. It's just so cool that she fucking jumped in there and started fighting. It was dope. She fucking saved the night at the last minute. I loved it. I love that shit. It was so fucking cool. Samus is such a badass. Cowdy, what's up? Welcome. Samus, I think, is a great female character. She's such a badass. I think all the girls in Resident Evil, until we get to Resident Evil 5, because then we start sexualizing the girls too much, but like, the female characters in Resident Evil were badasses dealing with terrible situations. I need to find Ochu. I think I need a turn here. Yeah, man, I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm not proud that America's going through this right now. This whole oversensitivity dance that we're doing. Let me see here. Ochu. Big ol' plant dude. Huh. Yo, asking you sell, receive. No. What happened with this Bethesda interview? That's 2. Pete Hines, okay. Well, what had him crying? I completely missed this. YouTube and Twitter hurt his feelings over Fallout 76. All right. Spill. What happened? What'd they say? Just 3. It is not Fallout. It is nothing but Fallout 76's fault that Fallout 76 is shit. And I'm not even gonna like harp on Bethesda super bad. Everybody's throwing Bethesda in the same ring with EA and Blizzard right now. EA's always been a shit company. They've always been a bunch of money-grubbing assholes. Blizzard used to not be until they merged with Activision, and they've slowly been degrading. And they're just getting worse and worse and worse. And so Blizzard's definitely bad. Konami, bunch of bastards. So if I had to rank the bastard level, I'd actually rank Konami the highest. Because EA still tries to make video games that people want to play. They're trying to make games that people are addicted to, but they're doing it so they can make money. Their heart's in the wrong place, but they're trying to do the right thing. They just failed to do it. Konami strictly only cares about the money, and they don't give a fuck about how they do it, so they stomped all over gamers in the process. EA's trying to make money but do it with games. Blizzard is trying to be like EA, but there's some good, serious people that were working there, and they're trying their hardest to hold on to those original ideas as they're slowly being strangled, okay? Blizzard. And then there's the Bethesda. Bethesda's only really fucked up one game. They've only fucked up Fallout 76. Everybody's losing their mind and, like, getting mad about all this other shit. They fucked up one game. Bethesda's still putting out... They're still publishing and helping with the design of Doom. And Doom's fucking amazing. But people want to give all the credit of Doom to id and give none to Bethesda. Bethesda's got a lot of work that they put into Doom. I think it's an attempt to change their narrative in time for the next big content. Wastelanders. Like, here's the thing. The next Elder Scrolls is going to come out, and everybody's going to change their tune. They're going to go back to loving Bethesda. Bethesda tried to make Bethesda Studio / ZeniMax Studio / the in-house developers who have been making Fallout and Skyrim forever, tried making a multiplayer Fallout game because we've been begging for that for years and years and years. They tried doing it, and they fucked it up royally, and they got scared, and they put the game out, and they shouldn't have. They made a mistake, and it's called Fallout 76. End of story. There's nothing... Everybody's like, Bethesda's the shit company now, and it's like... And have they made continuous back-to-back bad decisions with Fallout 76? Yes, they absolutely have. But all of it is back to 76. 4 wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but 4 was still a really good game, you know? But yeah, I agree with you, Belly. I think they're trying to... I think it's insulting to us to try and say that it's social media's fault, not the fact that 76 was a shit game. There's a witch hunt for that game. There's a video where a guy showed that more people are tweeting about how bad the game was than actual people playing the game. Same thing happened to Anthem. People didn't even play the game. Anthem was an actual piece of shit. And I played both. Both games... There's always going to be bandwagoning. There's going to be people that praise video games that don't deserve it just because their friends praise it, you know? League of Legends is a shit game and a bunch of people play it just because there's a bandwagon element to it. So, I don't give him any grace for that. Fallout 76 is a terrible game from the ground up. Riddled with bugs, unfun to play, progression's pointless, response from the company when problems developed was poor. Everything about it was bad from the ground up. Anthem has a lot of bandwagoning hate, and I believe it's earned absolutely every ounce of it. Anthem was so pumped up. I liked Anthem's gameplay for 30 minutes. And then after that, it's repetitive and boring. And the gameplay loop is... There's Xbox 360 games with more gameplay loop than Anthem has. That game is so poorly designed. And if I'm real honest, the only thing about Anthem that was actually cool was flying and then landing and then going back to the air. If you take that out, the gunplay, super weak. Yeah, I mean, Anthem pissed me off. Anthem was one of the games that got me really upset. Fallout 76 was a disappointment. Anthem was... The amount of hype that they put behind that game. The whole, like, this is BioWare's next big thing. It's going to be a big story game. BioWare does story. And they weren't given a template to make a good story. That story was pointless. Pointless. It was an excuse to develop. It was so clear from the ground up that EA wanted BioWare to create an addictive game that has a strong gameplay loop in it, i.e. they're trying to make a Destiny, i.e. they're trying to make a Warhammer, so that they can filter in microtransactions as time goes on so that they can... Here's the thing, EA doesn't like... The combo system's cool, but it's been done before. It's not innovative at all, and that's the thing. Anthem's supposed to be innovative. Anthem isn't... We're not talking a video game company that's like indie or even half indie, that where if they make something that just plays well, it's cool. Like, for a good example, like Wolcen's just recently come out, and it's a bit of a Diablo / Path of Exile clone, but it's come from a very, very, very small studio. So when they do things that we've seen before, your expectations are different, right? This is BioWare. They changed the entire role-playing game scene with Mass Effect. They changed how stories are told in video games with Mass Effect. They did things that nobody had ever dreamed about doing. Rollover save files and stuff like that on this level, and your character being included in the cutscenes at such a... BioWare changed the way role-playing Western RPGs are done. Period. Witcher 3 gives so much of a tip of the hat to Mass Effect for everything that Witcher 3 turned out to be, was because of a lot of influence from Mass Effect and a ton of other games. But we have different expectations. It was also your first BioWare game, so you didn't have expectations. But there is still some expectations from the community, the environment, the ambiance, just the air around the game of what it was supposed to be. So for them to put in a combo system that we've seen with other games before, like, congratulations, you just stole and implemented something that we've seen before. BioWare is supposed to be stepping in and doing shit we've never seen before. Their flying to combat system, the fluid way that you can switch from flying to combat, we've seen it in other games, but it was implemented better in that. So, like, I give them that. And the combo system is fun, but it wasn't anything that really, like, changed the face of gaming. And that's their responsibility. These big AAA studios with tons of money and tons of funding from publishers, their responsibility is to push the envelope when they create a game. They didn't. They didn't even try to. The story was phoned in. To create that combo system took no time at the design table. It took no time in the programming room. It took no time in the animation. It took no time in implementation and bug fixing. It took no time. So where all the fucking money go? I don't think there was a lot of money. EA wanted a quick smash and grab title that was going to work like Warframe or work like Destiny, in the sense that, because if you compare like all the tagged phrases for Anthem, the things that they advertise the game on with this MMO light kind of stuff, and random loot drops, and all these, like, there's these certain word choices, and if you take that and compare it to other games that use the same tags for advertisement, it puts it in a field with Destiny, it puts it in a field with Warhammer, and it's because EA, I'm sure, has heard of how much money Warhammer's making. Warhammer is making gobs of, or not Warhammer, I'm sorry, Warframe. Warframe is making gobs of money. It's a game of service, exactly. Game as a service style of design, where, like, you put out one client and you slowly update it, and you don't have any overhead cost. Like, the team has to barely come up with new things and barely change things, and you get a whole new video game worth of sales. Like, usually you put 2 to 3 years of development into a game, and then you release it, and you make, if you're lucky, 10 million sales. After you make a game as a service, you can do that, boom, you get your 10 million sales, move the timeline along. Now, all I gotta do is put in 6 months of work and cause this uproar of people being interested, and therefore microtransactions if you got them in there, or like, oh, you're spending $10 on the expansion pack, oh, you're bringing your friends in, and then boom, you get another 7 million in sales. It's not the 10 million you got when the game first came out, but you got 7 million for 6 months of work, not 3 years of work for 10 million. And then guess what? You get to do that again in another 6 months and another 6 months. It's creating a stable paycheck that video game companies are not used to, and publishers are not used to these stable paychecks. And that is the problem with everything else in commerce, is accountants are running companies, not the people who created it. We're seeing it in everything. Steve Jobs talks about it with Apple, about how when accountants start running Apple, that's when the products stop being good and things start getting cheap. We're currently seeing it happen with Boeing. The most elite of airline creators in the world started having accountants run the business rather than engineers, and now planes are falling out of the sky. And we're seeing it with video games. Konami, we did a 45-minute video about it when we started up History of Gaming Metal Gear Solid 5, went from a company that had CEOs and presidents of Hideo Kojima, and I forget his name, but the guy who made Castlevania. These people were making the calls from the business side at Konami, and then, the money tanked a little bit 1 year. Sales weren't great. put out a couple bad games. We're losing some money. Your company's going through hard times. The board rips those people out, and they put in a guy who is an accountant. His degree, his history, his job lineage is accounting. And what does he do? Plinko machines and mobile games. Konami doesn't give a shit about video games anymore. EA has always, I forget the name. Oh my god, somebody will probably Google it and correct me. But the VP and the CEO of EA, accounting guys. Accounting. They look at a game and they go, how can it make money? They don't look at a game and say, how can we make this a better game? Same thing that's going on in Activision. CEO of Activision, accounting. Not a game designer. It's just, that's where we're at. And we're seeing that with every single market in America, in the Western market, I guess is a better way to say it. And even the Japanese market. I guess it's the world over, because I was just talking about Konami. All that happened on the little island of Japan. Yeah, accountants are getting put in control of the games, or of the companies rather, than the actual people who make the thing. So the whole point of view is, how can we turn this into a moneymaker? And part of that equation is, don't put a lot of money into put as little money as possible into making the thing that has the highest return on investment. Because sure, I could probably make $1 trillion on a video game if I spend $100 billion on it. Yeah, of course that game's going to be so amazing, but oh my god, the return on investment wouldn't be worth it. But if I could make a game for 30 cents and sell it for billions, now that's what I'm talking about. No, I don't want to fight your monster. It's always a quick and easy rant to get me going on those publishers, man. Publishers drive me up a wall. I don't play a lot of games as a service. World of Warcraft is turning into game of a service. So I play old school MMOs. Really, the only ones I touch right now is World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, which I haven't been on either of those in a long time. But that was an old... Like, that was before game as a service was a thing, where it was a subscription base, but like, the amount of quests and the server maintenance was what your $15 a month was paying for, right? I don't like Destiny 2. Destiny 2's boring to me. Anthem was boring to me. What other game as a service is out there? I can't do Warframe. Warframe's boring to me. Also, I don't like being inundated with tons of shit. Just like, you log in and they're like, the marketplace. Every game's got a fucking marketplace now. You go over to the marketplace and there's just gobs and gobs and gobs of, oh, XP boosters and the costumes, and oh, here's a bunch of costumes you can look at, but you can't buy them because they're seasonal, or we only did it like... That's nice. I like it. I'm being showed bras right now. Boobies, they're great. It's just, like, all that, like, I hate the marketplace. The Division, I played the Division 1. I ended up not finishing it because I felt it was not properly balanced. And then Division 2 started popping up, and it's just like, oh great, we're just right back to the same thing. And I'm out. I'm out. I don't think Monster Hunter would be. And the reason why is because... I mean, I guess in a way. So, I mean, game as a service, if we're not looking at the money-making angle, it's a game that you put out one client and you support it as long as you possibly can before you have to put out another client. I don't think that's the case for Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter Iceborne was a full-price, quote-unquote, expansion to Monster Hunter World that did provide another whole game's worth of content. And they did it, I think, 3 years? 2 years? I forget. Monster Hunter, maybe it was just 2 years. Monster Hunter World release date was 2018 for the original game, and then Iceborne... It's just giving me the same... so a year and a half for Iceborne. And they charged one more lump sum. But then they trickle in. So that's the thing too, though, is like Monster Hunter has always trickled in monsters. They've always done event monsters. So the fact that they add monsters, but they release the monsters for free. All their updates are free. And the phrase game as a service comes from an actual industry in software design called software as a service. And in software as a service, you pay for improvements, you pay for a package monthly. There's a transaction on a monthly basis that keeps you on that software as a service, right? So if we get super literal with the definition of where the phrase game as a service came from, it's from that environment. And the way that they're getting their monthly is either through an actual monthly subscription or they're hitting us with microtransactions. Now, Monster Hunter World does have microtransactions, but none of it is required by any means. It's all very superficial. Could Smash be considered? I would maybe say that Smash now, the newest Smash, I think is going to become game as a service. Battle passes? Well, I think Battle Pass for Smash, I think, is. But I think the whole, like, season pass thing that they're doing, just for a game that comes out, like, buying a season pass for Witcher, I don't think is game as a service. You're planning on putting out DLCs, but then there's a point where the game stops being supported. There will be a point where Monster Hunter World has to make Monster Hunter World 2. The fact that Monster Hunter World came out and then a year and a half later they put out another whole thing that they need you to buy, and it was worth it. You know, they didn't gyp us on that. We didn't pay for something that we weren't, you know, being properly rewarded for our money. It's when you put out a game and you don't have to worry about it. Smash, I think, is going to go game as a service because I don't think they want to make any more iterations of Smash. I think they just want to make Smash Ultimate and have you pay for fighter passes, fighter packs, and just keep releasing characters for it, and then, like, update it. And then they might do, like, you know, a fighter, or, you know, a Smash Brothers Ultimate Redux, you know, and then they put it on the next Nintendo Switch console, or the next Nintendo console, rather. I don't see them changing. I don't think they want to come up with a new Smash system. They changed it so little from 4 to Ultimate anyways. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think another good example of game as a service is Siege. That is absolutely a game as a service. Also, game as a service is For Honor. Just For Honor ended up being not great. A little pissed about FF7 Remake getting summons, like through the pre-order bonus. I think that they're gonna. What I don't like is that it's summonings that I'd be okay if they were adding summonings that weren't in Final Fantasy VII, but it's Chocobo and Moogle, and those were in Final Fantasy VII. Here's the ways that they can make me okay with it: is if the summonings that you get as a pre-order were summonings that weren't in Final Fantasy VII. For example, Carbuncle is being put in, and we just got through 7. I'm pretty sure Carbuncle was not a Final Fantasy VII summoning. So if you were letting me, I think actually Carbuncle is one of the pre-order ones. Maybe that, I forget. You guys will have to double check me on it. But if summonings that were not part of the original game are being added in as pre-order, that I'm okay with. Because then if you're missing it, it wasn't part of the original game, so it shouldn't be in the remake anyways. But if you're going to throw in some stuff that's kind of fun, you know, like if Anima from Final Fantasy X was a summoning that gets pulled in through a pre-order, I would have been dope with that. You know, that's fine. Other option is early access. I don't mind pre-orders that give you early access to small things that don't change the game too much that you'd get anyways. Like, oh, you won't get Chocobo or Moogle until 10 hours into the game, but if you pre-order, you get them right up front, right off the bat. I'm okay with that. So, but I think the way that it's going to go down is that Moogle and Chocobo are going to be summonings you can buy from the PlayStation Store for like $5 a piece. Like, I think that's what it's going to be. Regrettably. But it's also just a pre-order bonus. You don't have to buy the deluxe, I don't think, to get into those. So it's not like they're actually getting more money out of you. And were we not gonna buy FF7 Remake? There's a lot of people that don't even like Final Fantasy VII that are buying Final Fantasy VII Remake. Rebel Red is adamantly against. You guys will see Rebel Red in the channel all the time. We play games with him a lot. He's adamantly against JRPGs. He can't stand them. He's gonna get Final Fantasy VII Remake. I guarantee it. He won't be able. Well, I don't know. Maybe he won't. I'd be surprised if he didn't, though. Alright. Let's keep this truck going. We can have this rant while working on capturing these things. Yeah, guys, we need to get some food.
The final show.
Yeah, you gotta get that PS4 life. Yeah, I mean, like, if a game says that it's gonna do seasons, that's a really good indicator that you're dealing with a game as a service, if they're doing seasons. League of Legends, Dota, Heroes of the Storm, all those MOBAs, oh my god, this is gonna be a nightmare. Yeah, if they do seasons, you're dealing with a game as a service for sure. Ow. With Battle, okay, yeah. Then yeah, those absolutely. Seasons are absolutely, in my opinion, games as a service. Because I mean, Siege and For Honor are real big on that. Good job, Waka. KO'd yourself. Oh, we gotta fight cactuars out here? See, like the new Pokemon game, they're doing some DLCs for it, and then they'll come out with a new Pokemon at some point. So that I don't consider to be as a service. Trying to think of other examples. And I've learned that I don't like as service gaming. Something I'm not interested in. What's that, babe? Is Sims as service? No, that is a fucking cash grab game. Because here's the thing with Sims, is they're willing to put out a number 3, number 4, number 5 Sims. They're willing to, like, move the series forward numerically. But the problem is that if you get the full Sims 3 or the full Sims 4 experience, you pay for what would be like $100 to $120 worth of game, but you spend $600 to $800 on it. And then they release a new version of the game, Sims 5, and all your shit that you had is useless now. The whole point of like game as a service from a company standpoint, what they're trying to do there is all the cost goes into developing the framework. When you make a game and it's super expensive, all the money goes into developing the base framework and then getting the engine to do what you want. If you have to make an engine from scratch to make your game, that's a whole different story. So like, well, good example, Metal Gear Solid 5 versus Metal Gear Survive, okay? Metal Gear Solid 5 required its own engine that had to be developed from the ground up. That's a bunch of money right there. And then after that engine's developed, you got to make all your assets and get all of your UI and your menus and your databases all to work inside that engine. So after you get that, then you go through and you fine-tune animation, create dialogue, you put in voice acting, you create the scenes. Now you've created the world in the engine. Now you get to play around and make that world dance for you, right? And then that's where all the time comes in. That's a lot of time. Not quite as expensive. You need less people on board for that portion. But it's that initial making the engine if the engine's required, and then building everything inside the engine after you're done. Now, what Game as a Service is trying to do is, if they can avoid it, not have to build a new engine, but build a new engine if they have to, build the game inside the engine, and then never do that again. They got the game built in the engine, and they just need to add in small things, or move some stuff around, or make different combinations of already existing things, and boom, they've got something else that's worth money, because they created it. So like a good example is Siege. You know, they're not changing anything about the core functionality of what Siege is or how Siege works as a game. All they're doing is they're creating new characters. So all you're doing is loading in a new model. You're using the same animations that are already there. You're using the same guns and the same physics engine and all that stuff that's already there. Maybe you make a new map, you know? All that is just designing within the engine. You've already got everything set up in there, you know? That effort is so minuscule compared to that initial setup. What sucks about it is it kills jobs. The more Game as a Service takes off, the less manpower that's required to make money. And the less people you need to make money, the less jobs there's going to be in the end. They'll hire, like... What is his problem? Yeah. What is his deal? No. I mean, I hope that makes sense. Like, like they'll hire a bunch of people up front to cover, like, the initial development, and then they're going to lay off a bunch of those people and only keep, like, you know... Instead of the 40 people they had working on the engine in the beginning, they only keep like 5 people to maintain it and fix problems that arise. It's all about that bottom line. There is a cactuar that I need to find. And I need to kill 10 of them. I'm trying to think of other examples. Game as a Service. I think we really nailed them on the head. Smite's another example. It's just like MOBAs are Game as a Service. You know, they release the engine in the game and they just make another character, make another character, make another character, make another character, make another character. They just keep doing that. I prefer just like... I know that I prefer single-player games for the most part, or like cooperative experiences with friends. Game as a Service is pointless to me. Like, I play video games to achieve and to conquer something, right? Like, we're having a ton of fun playing, and we'll probably actually call Final Fantasy X at some point and switch over to it, because I've been having so much fun with it. But Pathfinder Kingmaker, where I'm having so much fun because I'm accomplishing things. Like, I'm working towards an end goal, and I mean end. Like, it will end. I will beat it. Game as a Service is pointless. I'm busting my ass, I'm gonna get this super cool weapon, it's gonna be super awesome when I get it, I'm gonna be super strong, and I'm gonna one-shot everything. Cool, I got the weapon, I'm super strong. New season! I'm weak again. I'm pointless. It doesn't matter. Do it again. Okay, I'm strong again. New season. I'm pointless again. It just... They keep undoing my achievements every single time they put out something new. It's just not fun to me. It's like... Yeah, well, it's the gear travel. The gameplay loop is what they call it. They try to make it an enticing thing, the gameplay loop. It's like building a house out of cards, and then every single time you get done, somebody knocks it over, changes the back of the cards, and says, have fun, do it again. Oh, well, I'm building a new card house, but this time the back of the card is red instead of black. Isn't that neat? I want to achieve it. I want to get it done. I want to finish it. Like, I could go and sit down and play Destiny 2. Get all the best gear in it. Do all the fun raids. And then it won't matter, because they release something new. And that bleeds over into MMOs a little bit. That's why I'm kind of like falling out of love with MMOs in general, plus... My favorite MMO, WoW, is slowly turning into a turd. But the thing with, like, MMOs, though, is after you've achieved the top, the game stops for a little bit. Like, it takes so long for them to put an expansion out that you do spend a period of time where you are at the top, and you are completed, and you get this breath of fresh air that's very rewarding. That you're like, yeah, dude, I did. I was a fan of Legend of Dragoon for PS1. Did I ever grab it? Not sure. He had it on the couch last night. I don't think I got Legend of Dragoon. I did love Legend of Dragoon, though. It was a very fun game. Until you release them. What am I thinking of? Hold on a second. Didn't I hear a confirmation of that? I guess I didn't get a confirmation of that. No, but I did hear the rumor of it, though. I'd love... Ugh. I don't think I own a copy of it. Do I not? Here, I can tell you right now. We can pull up the... We can pull up the game catalog. All right, knucklehead, calm down. Ouch. Come on. I am playing Kingmaker for the first time. The playthrough that we're doing right now is my first time through the game. And I am adoring it. I am getting a little bit... I get tilted when I run into newbie traps. Which those classic RPGs love doing. I fucking hate it, though. Just wish they wouldn't. Why isn't this thing going off? Let me pause. Let me finish looking at this video game catalog thing that we were looking at. My drive. Oh, there it is. I was on the wrong profile. Game catalog, video game catalog, here we go. PlayStation, 1995. Legend of Dragoon is not in there. I thought I still had my copy. Well, that sucks. I'm gonna have to find a copy of Legend of Dragoon now. Is this thing gonna glow? What about this one? Is it like Divinity Original Sin? It is, but it runs on, instead of its own system, which I think Divinity Original Sin really runs on its own kind of RPG system. I don't know if it uses one of the tabletop rules. This uses the most recent Pathfinder. Which has an awful lot of similarities to 5th Ed D&D, but there are some differences. I've never played the tabletop Pathfinder. So there's some things that I have to learn. I know 5th Ed very well. But it does expect you, if you wanted to be really good at it, it does expect you to just know things from Pathfinder. Which is Sucks a little bit, but, you know, the majority of that you can just Google. For example, in D&D 5th Ed, I hit X. The Maul is the two-handed, like, mace. It's called the Earthbreaker in Pathfinder, and you need to know that. Because it doesn't explain it to you in descriptions. I'm very excited for the new Baldur's Gate. I'm very excited for it. Huge Baldur's Gate fan. I love Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 very much. Pillars of Eternity and Divinity Original Sin, they both scratched and itched. I've never beat any of them. I did watch the live stream. I was making jokes about, like, only Larian Studios could have such a terrible demonstration of the game and people still walk away pleased with it. My God, if any AAA studio ever showed something like that, people would have been fired. God damn it.
See ya! Told ya!
Why is there a cactuar following me now?
Yeah! Yeah! See ya! You like that?
There we go. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. He's the butterfly? Oh yeah. Spirit Lance. Okay, so who's... Give me a moment here. Okay. Just reading some stuff on the guide real quick. Oh my god, we're gonna have to stop and do the... We're gonna have to do the whole, blitzball thing here soon. Oh, it was Lulu's! Okay, Lightning Dodgers Lulu. Okay, so you're gonna go near the entrance to the Thunder Plains. Okay. Take a crack at it. Let's do this. Let's get into some fights and get the Cactuars down. I think that's number 3 or 4 on the Cactuars. That sucks, I was gonna kill 2 of them. One ran away. Oh, that came real fast. Damn! At least I'm still getting 1 kill. There we go. Alright, so now...
Why are you in Guadosalam? What business have you here?
You want to start something?
if it would please you to harm a defenseless old man. Then burn me, boil me, it matters not.
Huh?
Lord Seymour is gone. No lord rises to take his place.
Didn't expect this.
The Guado merely wait for sin to come and finish us off. Why should I care what you do to me? Oh. If it meant rejoining Lord Jiskel and Lord Seymour, then your taking off my head would be the greatest kindness.
Okay, weird, but alright. Alright. Okay, so it's not as consistent as I would like. It's not consistent. They're talking on the guide that there's a consistent way to get this to do it. In the right area? I think this is it right here. Yeah, that makes it really consistent. Okay, chat. We're gonna be doing that for a little bit, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then I'll come back, and we're gonna take a crack at trying to do Lightning Dodger. Something I completely gave up on as a kid. So we'll see you guys in a minute. Be right back.